Okay, I had a few questions about how I made a greenhouse out of 2 trampoline frames. We just used the round part. We got the 6mm UV treated poly on there. I leave it on through the winter. The snow sheds off, and I haven't had it actually break through. You could go inside and knock it off once in a while. No big deal. You get 5 years out of this stuff pretty easily. This trampoline, it's made out of everything that's been recycled. There's some screws, tape, and some new poly, but all the lumber, most of the screws even have been recycled out of other projects. So we get a little closer, take a walk around. I have a log holding the poly down, sort of wrapped around. And we have these 1x4 strips. I use the 1x4 just so it's fairly streamlined with the frame itself, and we try to use you got a tapered self-tapping screw there that just drills right into the metal, so you don't have to drill a hole. It drills itself, and it doesn't stick through, so the poly doesn't catch on it like maybe some other, like a machine screw would normally use. It might wear through as the poly moves in the wind. So for the joins, we use the tuck tape. It sticks really good anywhere the joins touch plastic or touches metal. You could use the white silage wrap tape. That stuff is incredibly sticky too to plastic, and then you wouldn't have to look at the kind of ugly red. So the frame here, again, used a self-tapping machine metal screw there. It just screws right into the metal, and it's just a cheap frame. This old screen door of an old home we tore down works pretty good. It's got its own screen window. The screen's still good, and the window I used in the backs has a screen so you can open it up for ventilation. I got to patch a couple holes my kids made in the wintertime, but we use a big old wooden beam right into the ground to attach everything to, and just attaching the wooden frame to support that and the back wall. And the poly just staples on. You staple it onto anywhere there's wood. So we got some boards on the ground to hold the poly down on this side, try to keep the weeds from growing up. This is the sun side, so it'll get the better weed growth. Then on the back here, just some old offcut scraps of some tin we're using on the roofs of the different sheds, and another beams right into the ground. And then we got some studs and just a few old boards there for around the window to support that. And you tape it. The little bit of vents don't really matter. You'd actually like a little airflow to try to lessen the mold growth. So you staple it on, and if it's a little bit loose in a few spots, that's okay. We can regulate the heat and the moisture somewhat well with just opening up the windows. You leave the screens so you don't have too many bugs getting in there. Like a short, pretty sparse stud wall underneath the window frame to support the bit of weight that is there. But other than that, it's a really affordable way to make a greenhouse. It costs me very little. It's under $100. I've had it for 4 years here now. I only replaced the poly this year because the kids came along and cut it up for some fun, I guess. But we'll go inside here and take a look. We're in British Columbia, about 50 degrees north, 118 degrees west, about 118 degrees west, and we're 700 meters above sea level, roughly at this point. So, we're in March here in the morning. Actually, it's just gone into the afternoon. So the snow's just starting to come off, but in here, it's hot. We use a thermometer to keep an eye on the temperature. I turned it over a little bit the other day with these my custom bent D-hoe. Just gets right underneath the weeds, and you pop them up, pull the roots out and all. It does a pretty good job. So on the ground here, just got a couple 2x4s. We drill holes, put a 1/4-inch bolts in, some washers, and that help keep the frame straight. And then we're in the joins where the frames sections are all joined to keep it sturdy. We drill the holes through there, put the 1/4-inch bolts in again. Everywhere the wood touches the metal, drill it in with either self-tapping screw On the bottom sides we used the bolts. And up on the ridge board here we got the 1x4 on the top to keep the poly from draping in between the frames, and that helps it for the snow to keep the weight up so it doesn't really stretch the plastic and the snow will actually shed off. Same with the water. You have the boards and then it doesn't keep the poly relatively tight so that the boards don't drape too much and create puddles in here. And it all seems to work out pretty well. You know, up in here the door frame's slightly larger than the trampoline frames, so we just took an old piece of a crazy carpet. That Teflon lasts a long time, and staple it in there, staple the poly around. And we got the irrigation system coming in, so you don't have to drag hoses around and across stuff. We got the 25 psi regulator. The emitters we use, they don't like anything more than 25, so we run the line through the wall here. There's some twist ties holding it on, and we use a 180 degree emitter here. It's adjustable. We've got a 360 here and then another 180 at the end. I have hanging baskets going in here, and we'll have cucumbers strung up, tomatoes. We've had peppers in here. We'll grow all kinds of our lettuce in the early and late season. We'll get the baby pak choy growing in the corner, and we'll have the spinach sometimes. I like the prize head and the butter crunch lettuces and cos. Looks really good. We got mesclun and some winter blends. And early season, like almost February even, you can probably get the Russian kale to grow in here. That stuff's pretty bomb-proof. But all in all, you know, it didn't take very much. I built it all myself, just a few brackets to try to keep it relatively sturdy. And it's such a high humidity here and all the time. You don't have to water much because you just keep recycling. It just rains back down on itself. You come in here and tap it, and it gives it a nice little sprinkle. And yeah, it's a cheesy stud wall there, and this little scraps of tin. We don't have light come in from that side. It's late in the evening when the light would be coming in there, so we don't really worry about the shade from that tin. Plenty of early sun and afternoon sun comes in here, and it's just better just to keep the animals from trying to come in with a little bit more security on that side. That side aims towards the bush, so it helps keep them out of there. But other than that, there isn't really much else I can tell you about the recycled trampoline greenhouse. It's all repurposed, old strappings and boards. You know, we reuse the screws even a lot of the times. So we have long screws kicking around and just put them in a second time and use them up. It sure extends our growing season up here in Canada. We wouldn't have as much, you get an extra at least 2 months just having a little greenhouse pop up, and honestly under $100. It's a cheap way to get yourself into a pretty skookum little greenhouse. We got there's a 14-foot trampoline we use, so 14 feet wide, half that for height, so you got 7 feet tall. I fit in there pretty good. And with the four sections are 4 feet apart each for a span, so it's 12 feet long, 14 feet wide. I wouldn't mind adding one more section and get 16 feet, but it doesn't really matter. It's plenty good enough for extending our season here. Keeps us in good salads and stuff. Well, thanks for watching. It's the greenhouse. We'll go find something else to film.